Can I quote someone for you real quick? Michelle Obama said the following: there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. An amazing statement by an amazing woman to really think about that in this video today. As we get ready to celebrate International Women's Day on March 8th of 2026, as well as just celebrating Women's History Month. If you've been following me on Instagram, you already know. We need to be honoring throughout the month the women, leaders, mothers, sisters, mentors, and friends whose strength and wisdom has pushed us forward for all of mankind. My hope that we understand that their courage reminds us that leadership is not about the spotlight, it's about impact. Let's go. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Noan El Boricua, and welcome back to another episode here at Fuel Pasión Podcast, where we immerse ourselves dentro de cultura, where we grow in our faith, and as you already know, make those conexiones. As always, if you could just like and subscribe, that'd be amazing. If you want to share this video with someone because you feel that it could be an impact or maybe it could level them up, that would be amazing as well. Today's episode, it's a little bit more reflective as we're getting ready going into springtime. And as we already know, we're losing an hour, but I think at the same time, at least we're gaining more sunlight. But all that to say, we are entering into a new season. We have Easter and spring literally right around the corner. But I think there's something powerful when seasons change. Because for me, it reminds me that life moves forward when we see the changing of spring. If I'm keeping it 100, man, I've been reflecting on a lot of things in life as of late. So I kind of wanted to share a couple of those things here for you. And I hope it could be motivational. I hope you can stay till the end because I always think there's something there that you could probably take, or maybe you could share with someone if you are a leader or a mentor. And one of the things I kind of wanted to open up with is that I am preparing to speak at Azusa Pacific University in April, where I'm going to be able to speak about brand identity and about like leadership within young people. And also, I am continuing to mentor students locally at the church as well as outside of the church at local colleges and universities, as well as some other students. I need to hurry up and finish a part of a book that you may or may not. I'm actually writing a book, so I'm writing a book that really explores this idea that many of us are navigating and many of us are called in multiple spaces, as well as when it comes to like career, ministry, and community. So my hope is that if you're interested in that book, let me know because I kind of would love to maybe get a couple copies out beforehand before we go to a final phase. But just hit me up in the comments or DM me and let me know. But I think on top of all that, right, this month really in March, it's been about honoring women who really have shaped my life. And all of that reflection made me realize something for this episode that sometimes we just don't need new information. If anything, we just need timely reminders. So, can I give you 3 reminders today for the season that maybe you are entering or navigating? But here's the thing, it's not just because of spring, but because of your calling for these reminders. So, numero uno, reminder number 1 is stay aligned with who God called you to be. Did you hear that? I need you to be called to who you are. I think one of the biggest lessons that I've been learning lately is the difference between like identity and alignment. I've been talking about alignment, that's kind of my word of the year. More on that later, but I think what I want us to understand is that identity answers, well, really, if I, well, how do I want to say this? Identity answers like the question, because I was going to say a couple questions, but answers the question, who am I when it comes to identity? But alignment actually answers then a deeper question. Is the way that I live consistent to who I say that I am? Because if we're keeping it honest, you like you can know who you are and still live misaligned. I don't know. See, I'm doing this hand thing again, like last video, but I just want us to understand that the danger in our generation is that we can easily build the image without alignment. Again, we can easily build an image before we actually have alignment. And we need to be careful with that. Meaning, like, social media can amplify an image, titles can amplify an image, influence can amplify an image. But alignment is built in the quiet spaces. And not just spaces, but places as well. What do I mean by this? See, alignment happens when your character matches your calling. It also happens when your private life matches your public life. Hot take, I know that. But what's in the private should be in the public. And your values guide your decisions. That's how you know when you have alignment in life. So when you're aligned, something powerful really happens. Like, you stop chasing validation and you start walking with conviction. And when you walk in conviction, yo, you move differently. If this was a really wide shot, I would have walked for you guys really quick how that might look like for me, but we'll save that for another day. This is something that I always remind students, I always remind people that I mentor, that your brand is not what you post. Can I say that again? Your brand is not what you post. Your brand is what people experience when they what? When they encounter you. Hence, what are the pillars? Conexiones, connections. And if I'm really taking it a really big picture, if you are aligned with God, right, and exactly what God called you to be, then your life becomes, without you even knowing it, it becomes a testimony of the thing that other people can do. Why? Because they've seen what God has done in your life. So again, yes, we want to be able to have this image, but again, at the end of the day, identity is not in the image, but is in the alignment. And if you put it all together with God, then this is a whole nother level of an unlock. But I'm gonna save that for another day. I want to get to reminder number 2. Y el segundo recordatorio, reminder, is that your calling can exist in multiple spaces. I don't know why I'm doing so many hand movements, but one thing that I'm really passionate about, if you may or may not know, that I'm actually going to put in my book, is this idea that God calls people to serve in more than one space. Because sometimes we think that purpose has to fit in one box. Now, hear me out. I know that some people are called to one thing and you could be a master at that one thing. I validate that. I am not trying to say that you got to be in different spaces, but I need you to understand, like in my case, this is why I feel that maybe I'm just writing this book for myself, but maybe you guys can connect with me. Some of us are called in different areas, in different parts of our career, in our community. For some of us that are faith based in our churches, or maybe wherever you lean into, right? Outside of work. But when you read scripture, in my case, I see something different, and I hope you can see this as well as I'm explaining this reminder about being called to multiple spaces. Think about Nehemiah in the Bible. He was a cupbearer in the palace, a professional role, right, with the king. But he was also the man of God that was used to rebuild Jerusalem. So think about that, right? A cupbearer, but called to rebuild Jerusalem. Or I think about Paul. Paul made tents to support his missionary work, but he also planted churches across the whole globe. Well, maybe not the whole globe, but at that time of the world, it was in many different places outside of where he was from. All that to say is that their calling existed in multiple spaces. And maybe that's you. I know it's me. Maybe you're building a career. Maybe you're serving in your school. Maybe you're serving in your community. Maybe you're serving in the church. Maybe you're mentoring others. Maybe you're raising a family. Or maybe you're creating something very meaningful that you want to give to the world. And if I'm being honest, sometimes that can feel overwhelming. But what if it's not confusing? What if it's your calling? What I mean by that, what if God called you intentionally and he placed you in these multiple environments because your influence is meant to reach various different people, throughout humankind, right? humanity. Wow, why did I say humankind? But throughout humanity, like maybe that's your calling, right? To hit all these different people and to be able to showcase the skills that you have and to be able to serve people of all creeds. Because that realization, that changed my perspective. Because it reminded me that purpose is not limited to just one platform. What do I mean by this? Look, God uses your career, right? He uses your creativity and your community to extend his impact that he's put in you. And this last reminder, because I know that's a lot to unpack on the whole multiple spaces, but I want you to remember, don't forget the people who walk with you. Because as we're moving into a new season, right? Spring around the corner, it's easy to focus on goals, right? The next opportunity, the next milestone, right? The next achievement, all of that comes and you just think about those moments that you're trying to get after. How about we just pause? And how about we just take a moment to understand the people that have been in our life and how we can honor them and how we can thank them and how they have shaped our journey. Are there any people that have been shaping your journey as of late? Have we reached out to them? Have we said thank you? Especially like in this month of March, when I think of the women in my life, the mothers, the cousins, the mentors, the friends, the leader, mi familia, mi esposa, my wife, right? Their strength, the wisdom and resilience have left a mark in my life, which it reminded me something very powerful. Señores, we do not grow alone. Every person that's listening right now, you're watching, you all have people that poured into you. Yes or no? Okay. So if they poured into you, maybe it was someone who believed in you. Maybe it was someone who prayed for you. I know the abuelitas, las tías, y mom, they always be praying, right? Maybe it was someone who encouraged you when you doubted yourself to go after that role or to apply or to be able to get into that school. And sometimes the most powerful thing that we can do because of all that belief in us is acknowledge them, is to be able to say thank you for what they've done in our lives. How do we honor them? How do we celebrate them? Why? Because when we do this, it keeps us grounded. And it's been said that grounded people lead better. So to kind of close this out, we're in this new season. The days are going to be a little longer. We're going to have new opportunities. There's going to be some fresh energy. I don't know, whenever the day is longer, people feel more energized because they're getting some more sun. Here are the 3 reminders that I want to give you. Stay aligned with God, who he called you to be. Don't limit your calling just to one space. Y nunca te olvide, never forget the people who walked with you along the way to where your success is today. Because success without alignment is empty. Calling without community is exhausting at times. But when you walk aligned, in my case, with God and with the people around you in your life, your inner circle, you are sharpened by them. So, my hope is you can do that. I wish you the best of luck on this new season that's coming around the corner. For all the women, happy International Women's Day. Let's honor them, let's celebrate them. And at the end of the day, I hope that this video was a blessing. Head on over to Feel Pasión Podcast. As always, immerse yourself dentro de la cultura, grow in your faith, and make those conexiones. Y como dice mi abuelita, que Dios te bendiga.